Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Collier County Court. I'm Judge Martin. We've got one matter scheduled for 4 o'clock, which is Connie Stephen versus Kathy Sheffield and Crystal Lewis. Have I got counsel for plaintiff on the line here?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. Todd Allen on behalf of Connie Stephen.
Okay, and then who do I have on the telephone?
You've got Crystal Lewis, which I'm Catherine's daughter, and Kathy's here as well. We're both here.
Very good. And she goes by Ms. Lewis or Ms. Sheffield? Kathy does.
Miss Lewis.
Okay. All right, Kathy Lewis and Crystal Lewis?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Let me go through a few things. I'm going to start up front and say that this matter has been a bit confusing and a little bit tortured. So I'm going to ask some questions of Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen, this matter was filed by a non-lawyer eviction specialist.
Correct.
I smile as I say that. I've had a handful of cases from her. They are not good.
Oh, I agree. I agree, Your Honor.
Then I had Mr. Shapiro's office and a Lori Hannon Anton. I had set the case when I saw LaDonna Smith filed it and it had some pretty fundamental flaws. I set it for hearing to try to sort the case out, and Lori Hannon Anton came on and at the last second moved to continue, which I granted since really only her client would be prejudiced by the delay. There has been a raising by Crystal Lewis of a suggestion that she doesn't in any way, shape, or form live there and perhaps should be dismissed out, and a raising by Kathy Lewis of possible CDC issues, which may or may not apply based on what LaDonna Smith did. And finally, I have this motion from you, but I don't have any stipulation to substitute you in as counsel. And I don't know if I'm to expect Ms. Hannon Anton to appear. Maybe we should work backward. Are you on the case, Mr. Allen?
I am, Your Honor. We have sent over a stipulation for Mr. Shapiro's office to sign. That has been signed. My office is in the process of filing that now. So she's going to be out of the case. I will be the one taking over the case. And then the person who filed the eviction will no longer play a role in this. I've put the brakes on the eviction filing since Ms. Lewis filed the CDC designation, understanding that that's still going to, control the court's powers. So, our options at that point were to sit and wait and let's see what the CDC does, or Ms. Stephen, the plaintiff, could list the property for sale, market it as a leased property, and try and mitigate her damages. And that's kind of what brought us here today. Is we're not necessarily asking for the court to enter an eviction judgment because of the CDC designation, but my client is sort of caught between a rock and a hard spot. She has got the CDC designation that doesn't allow her to do anything with regard to the non-payment of rent. And now just recently the property is going under contract, and we've tried to coordinate with Ms. Lewis the ability to show the property to prospective buyers. I had a conversation with Ms. Lewis, and the gist of the conversation was that the property could be shown when she ultimately vacates the property. I don't have any idea when that will occur with the CDC designation. She has said towards the end of the month, but I don't know that that is something that we can rely on. So that's what brought us here today, Your Honor, is to seek an injunctive relief pursuant to 83.530 subparagraph 1 that says that the tenant shall not unreasonably withhold consent to the landlord to enter the dwelling unit to exhibit the dwelling unit to prospective or actual purchasers. All we're asking, Your Honor, is the chance for these prospective buyers to see the property, to not I understand Mrs. Lewis's situation, and obviously we'll be as coordinated with her as much as we can, but ultimately we need to show the property, and that's why we're here today, Your Honor.
Okay, and so at this point, you all are respecting the assertion that the CDC applies. Is that right?
Yeah, we're not electing to challenge that right now, Your Honor.
And at the moment, I say this for Ms. Lewis' benefit, at the moment, the CDC moratorium is set to expire at the end of this month, at the end of June. And none of us, as we sit here, has any idea whether that will be extended or not. You think that's a fair statement, Mr. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor. I've tried to do some quick research prior to this hearing, and it's a coin flip whether it's going to be extended or not.
I agree. I have thought in the past that I knew what they were going to do, and I've been wrong each time. Certainly, given the fact that vaccines are widely available to absolutely anyone over the age of 12 who wants it, and that we have an effective unemployment rate in Collier County of 0, with help wanted signs everywhere you look. Here, if they were only looking at here, I think they would reopen. But of course, the federal government's going to look at the whole country, and who knows what they will do. So let me ask one more question before I turn to Ms. Lewis. Are you all satisfied that you can dismiss Crystal Lewis out, or do you think that you need to pursue Crystal Lewis?
No, Your Honor, as long as her representation is accurate and she's willing to make that representation today before the court, I have no problems voluntarily dismissing her from the case.
Can I ask Crystal Lewis, can you confirm, I think you had written to the court and indicated, I don't know why they're suing me, I don't live there, I don't have anything to do with that property. Is that a correct statement, ma'am?
That is a correct statement. I moved out December 2015, so it's been 6 years since I've been here.
Very good.
My mom still lives here by herself.
Okay, very good. So we'll rely on that and do an order that dismisses you out of it. The other side of that coin, of course, is that you will not be able to claim that you, Crystal Lewis, have any right to stay in possession there. But it sounds like you're okay letting go any claim to possession in exchange for being dismissed out of the case.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then we just have the matter of Kathy Lewis, your mother, who does, it sounds like does continue to occupy the property. And we can do a few things today. Mr. Allen today is simply asking this court to enter an order that will require Kathy Lewis to allow reasonable entry into the home so that buyers can look at the home and so forth. Before we get to that, I would like to just take a step back and get a little bit of an indication from Kathy Lewis Sheffield as to what her intentions are. And Crystal Lewis, I'll be a little bit informal here. If it's easier for you to speak for your mother, I know you're both right there, but can you give us an idea, just this is just us talking, but do y'all have plans to vacate the premises? And
honey,
what can you tell us?
I'm gonna talk for myself.
Yes, ma'am.
I rented from Connie almost 13 years ago. Your Honor, I've never been late a payment. She had me take her every payment to her bank myself, and I've delivered them to her bank.
Okay.
Every payment, never been late. I got in the room here with this pandemic crap. I've been in and out of the hospital. Matter of fact, I ain't been out 2 weeks yet. And I'm trying to get everything packed. I told her by the end of the month I'd have it. I'm throwing things away I've had for years of my deceased children. I have nowhere to put them. And I'm trying to get out of here. I've been good to Connie. She's never made one repair. I've never got on to her for any of it. I've lived here with no water and everything else, but I love Connie. I have nothing against her.
Okay.
I don't want to occupy her house and her not wanting me in it. and I want to clean it before she has people coming. Look, I've got stuff tore out in here I've had for 13 years, stacked up and boxed up and piled up, and I'm trying to get. I had to give my dogs away. I've had for 17 years, every one of them. I have nothing left, Connie, nothing, and I hope you're listening to me. I'm still not mad at you, but I just need time to get this stuff out of here. To anybody else, Your Honor, my stuff would probably look like trash and junk, but it's all I've got left.
I understand. I understand. Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you there, Ms. Lewis. Let me ask Mr. Allen. You made a reference, Mr. Allen, to the possibility that this will be a sale with a tenant. Was that what you are thinking, or is this something that as soon as the CDC is out of the way, you may be asked by your client to immediately proceed with eviction due to the non-payment?
Yeah, so the representations to the buyer is that it's tenant occupied, and the buyers understand the nature of the tenancy right now and the status of it as far as delinquency and payment of rent. They're comfortable proceeding with the purchase, knowing what they know now. The issue is, for my client, is if the sale falls through because these people can't come in and see the unit, then her hands are tied, and once the CDC designation or the CDC declaration expires, if it so expires, then I'm going to be asked to come in and amend the eviction complaint and move it forward.
Your Honor, I'm as good as my word. If I told that woman I'll be gone, I told them that by the 1st of July, I would be out of here. I told that guy you're talking to there, that lawyer, the same thing. He was okay with that. He said, okay, I'll tell Connie that you're going to be gone by the 1st of July. I said, if I can get out of here anytime sooner, I will. I've got stuff packed to the ceiling. I pulled everything out here. I've got stuff packed to the ceiling, and I've got nothing left, Connie, for people to come in here and eyeball at. I've got nothing left. Do you understand? Got it all.
Let me
she
ask.
She got it all, Your Honor. She got it all.
Let me ask this, Ms. Lewis, and I don't know this for sure, but it's possible. One possible way through this, I think, may be that if you are willing to agree absolutely that you'll be out July 1, then we may be able just to make that agreement and everybody relies on it. And Mr.
Your Honor, I'm as good as my word. I told her that a month ago, and I meant that then. I mean it now. I told her if I have to set my stuff in the road and give the rest of it away, I'll give you your house, Connie. That's not the kind of person I am, Your Honor.
Well, I understand, and nobody's questioning your credibility, but let me turn to Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen, perhaps we can just settle the case entirely with the court doing an order that says both sides agree that Kathy Lewis Sheffield will vacate no later than July 1. And as long as she's out on time, the case would be dismissed. But if she misses the deadline and overstays, then the plaintiff could ask for an eviction right away. Would that work for your side, Mr. Allen?
I appreciate the effort, Your Honor, and it does to a certain degree, but it doesn't get us, because right now we're under contract. We have an obligation to make the property available to the prospective buyers to see. That's sort of the pressing issue right now, is to make sure we're meeting our contractual obligations. I'm fine with her staying until the end of June. That's not as important to me as getting somebody in there to see the property right now.
So you need to be able to see the property prior to July 1.
Correct.
Your Honor, I told Connie if she wanted to come by herself. Connie's been here many times after the hurricane and everything else. I don't care for Connie coming, but I don't want people parading through what I have left. And I have stuff, it's packed all in here. I'm throwing stuff away nobody would have thrown away, but I've got nowhere to take it and nowhere to put it. And I don't think that much longer is going to put anybody out. Well, I've been good to you, Connie, very good to you. I walked to make your house payment.
She's not on the call, but Ms. Lewis Sheffield, I understand what you're saying. The difficulty is that the one sentence that you said that I have to correct is you don't want people parading through, and the difficulty is, as a tenant, the law requires that you allow the landlord to come in. She's trying to
Your
show
Honor,
the
when the,
property.
listen, when the hurricanes come, when we had hurricanes and all this damage and all this trouble and stuff, she wasn't worried about coming in at the end when the soffit was blowing out and all this stuff. I had to put that stuff in there a piece at a time. Not one
Okay.
repair she'd ever wanted in here then. I just want to be able to get my stuff out of here and be left alone until I can do it. It's hard for me anyway.
Well,
I've had 2 children die here.
I can't do that, unfortunately. As a tenant, you don't have the absolute right to restrict the landlord from ever coming in. I understand.
I know.
what you're saying. Connie,
I'm not doing that.
Hang on. You've interrupted me 3 times. I got to stop you from doing that. Let me finish the thought.
I ain't never been before.
The law requires that the landlord be allowed to have access. And if she has someone lined up to buy the place, they have to be able to come see it, and she has to be able to come show it. Now, she's going to give you reasonable notice of the date and time, but I do not have any legal ability to do what you want, which is to keep all of those people out of your hair until July 1. I can't do that.
Well, Your Honor, I've got all my stuff packed here in the front end of this house, and it's coming out.
Okay.
It's coming out. She'll be able to have her house.
All right, but she needs to be able to see it this month.
Well, she can see, yes. She can as soon as I get the stuff moved right out of here. She can.
Well, no. That last part of that sentence won't work. You don't get to dictate the timing of this. She has the legal right to bring the buyer to see that place. And I believe, Mr. Allen, the statute simply requires 24 hours of notice.
Your Honor,
That's her and her legal buyer. That attorney led me to believe that, look, we're going to give you to the 1st of July. Can you tell me you'll have yours? I said, I'm telling you, I'm of my word. I told you I would have it by the 1st of July. Everything was good with that. Then he got involved, and I don't know what happened. Connie was talking to me until he got involved, Your Honor.
I understand.
I've never had a problem with that woman in 13 years. Never. None.
And that speaks volumes, and I appreciate that. I've got to, nobody here is a good guy or a bad guy. I'm just trying to get you all through the legal process. Mr. Allen, you did indicate, make sure I'm not misunderstanding, you all need to have access before July 1, is that right?
yes, Your Honor. And I mean, I'm obviously sensitive to
Connie told me July the 7th, Your Honor, and I said, I'll be gone by then. I said, I'll be out of here by the 1st if I have to put everything I've got in the trash. She told me July the 7th, Your Honor.
All right. Well, I don't know anything about that. Let Mr. Allen finish what he was saying. Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
Your Honor, we're obviously sensitive to the situation, and I agree. The statute says 24. I mean, we're willing to give her 48 to 72 hours notice before we come in there to inspect it. We obviously want to make this as painless as possible. So we're asking, willing to give her way more than the statute would require to facilitate that inspection. And we don't have a problem with her staying there until the end of the month. So as far as, the eviction goes, that's going to remain dormant until the end of the month. And, if she's out, we'll dismiss it. If not, then we'll deal with it. But, we're just trying to get in and give her as much notice as we comfortably can to comply with her contractual obligations.
Okay. So, Ms. Lewis, what Mr. Allen is indicating is that all he really needs to pin down today is access between now and the end of the month. Everybody's trusting that you will, in fact, get out by the end of the month. And as long as
I tell you that, Your Honor, I'm telling you just like I told them. My stuff will be on the road. It'll be on the road. If I can't get out of here, it's on the road. I will not keep that woman's house. I wouldn't do that to her.
I appreciate that, but the issue we're dealing with today, now we're going to narrow our conversation to this issue of her right to access it, to show it to the buyers. She's got a lawful right to do that on 24 hours notice. And what Mr. Allen's saying is
I'm not trying to be hard.
Hang on, ma'am, hang on. What Mr. Allen's saying is if you would be more comfortable with 48 hours notice, they can do that, but they've got to be able to get in there during the month of June. So tell me, understanding that legally they have that right, what would you like?
What about the 72 hours? I can have probably half of it out by then.
All right, if you want 72 hours notice, then I'm going to grant his request for a court order that will require you to allow them to come in with the buyer and look around as long as they give you 72 hours notice. Let me be clear. That does not mean that you have to move out in 72 hours. It just means they want to come in and look around. So whatever you want to do to try to be more comfortable with a stranger in the house, you've got 72 hours. But as far as actually moving out, right now we've got a gentle person's handshake agreement unofficially that you've given your word you're going to be out by the end of the month. And I will leave that between the parties, but I will order that they be allowed to come in on 72 hours notice to you. Do you understand all that, Ms. Sheffield?
Yes, Connie has 72 hours and I can let her in here to see it. I wouldn't care to let Connie in here by herself, but that man is a smart aleck, Your Honor. He's not acting like that with you, but he was a lot different with me on the phone.
Okay, well, it won't be the lawyer. I don't believe the lawyer is going to go visit the property. It's going to be Connie's buyer.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. And I told Connie, and it ain't been a week ago, Connie, you're welcome here anytime by yourself, but I just don't like that guy's attitude toward me.
Okay.
He was really mean.
Okay.
And I'm not like that with people. Connie's absolutely welcome. It's her house.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody's been very respectful this afternoon with me. I'm going to ask Mr. Allen to get me an order that will give that right of inspection within 72 hours, and then you and Connie have a verbal deal to be out by the end of the month. If you don't end up,
I'll be gone.
Okay, very good. And if that doesn't end up working out, Mr. Allen's probably going to come back to the court. But as long as it works out, I probably won't talk to you again.
That's going to work out, and I appreciate your time too, Connie. I like Connie, and I like her a lot, and that's not changed. That's not changed on her at all.
Good. Well, I wish both sides good luck. Mr. Allen, since you're going to be doing the order on that, do you mind either doing a very simple second order or including a line in this order that will take Crystal Lewis off the suit by dismissal? Okay.
Yeah, we'll voluntarily dismiss her today, Your Honor.
Okay. And then I think we're all set. Mr. Allen, is there anything else that you need to clarify or have the court address?
No, thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate your time.
All right. And Ms. Kathy Lewis, anything else that you wish to clarify before we end?
No, honey, I just don't want this lawyer going in there and putting an eviction on me. If he does, I'll never find nowhere to stay.
All right. Well, as long as you do what you've indicated you're going to do, it sounds like it's going to work out well. We'll mail copies to the address. Let me just double check something.
And I'm going to tell you, Connie told me, she said, I really want to thank you. She knows I paid her house off, Your Honor, while I was here. I did. And that made her happy, but it made me more happier to pay her house off than it did her to get it, I think.
Sure. All right. And Crystal Lewis, we're going to keep sending copies of everything to 1011 15th Street Southwest. That's the property there. Is that okay with you, Crystal?
Yeah, just do it so I can give it to her. I've had 2 kids that died since I've been in this house anyway. And I know I need to go, and it's just hard. It's hard. But I'm going.
Okay, well, we'll ask Mr. Allen to put that together.
Crystal's going to be in and out of here with me now because she's all I've got left to help me do anything here to get out.
Very good. Mr. Allen, you can submit that by word if you want to just include a certification that you'll take care of mailing a copy to Ms. Lewis and Ms. Lewis.
I will.
And we'll get that filed right away.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, good luck to both sides. We're all set for today. Take care.
All right, honey. Thank you, and God bless.